The name of the piece is Nest by Tommy Reevy, and he just happened to be a graduate of the University of Northern Iowa's Department of Art.
Both my undergrad and my graduate degree was in art and an emphasis in sculpture. I'm originally from Davenport, Iowa, and went to school at UNI and then at WashU in St. Louis, and right now I'm living in Milwaukee.
A number of years ago, the North Cedar Neighborhood Association came to the Cedar Falls Public Art Committee and wanted to know what we thought of having a sculpture to commemorate the flood of 2008 that was devastating to North Cedar. We felt that the piece of art should be uplifting. They felt the piece of art should be uplifting. And so in conjunction with the North Cedar Neighborhood Association, we picked the natural resources area adjacent to the North Cedar School. It's an area that has not flooded. Even with the latest flood that we had, the water did not reach this knoll. It'll be a showpiece for the entrance into North Cedar, that area of the city. So we sent out notices to artists around the United States, showing them pictures of where the piece will go and asking what they think could go there.
I saw an email come out for this that was an application for an open call, and I thought, well, you know, I've always liked the area, and I happened to be driving to Minnesota at the time, and I stopped, and that's when I spent quite a bit of time walking on the trails, and I wanted to do something that kind of initiated that activity.
We got a number of responses back, and they have to send drawings, or if they happen to have a piece, they will send pictures of that and tell us why they think that piece should go there.
Yeah, I went through about 100 models. This is the Natural Resource Project. All of this land is trying to recover native grasses and create a bird habitat. So I was going to try to make a piece that was kind of influenced and reflects that agenda.
And so we brought them in, we interviewed them, and we picked Tommy's piece called Nest.
So when I was walking through the trails, I was seeing all these birds' nests, both man-made and natural, and that was what really kind of triggered that it had to be something that was referential to that. I thought this idea of having a bird's nest at the human scale could be a kind of a place that grounds the people that live here to this location.
Final design in hand, Tommy was ready to begin the daunting task of constructing the massive monument.
Yeah, so I spent the whole summer, starting in May. Christina was my go-to person, and she was fantastic, very organized. And I moved back up here, and then that way I was able to use the facilities and this program called the Public Art Incubator.
So I've been working with the Public Art Incubator, which is like a program in the art department for the sculpture lab and anyone else that really wants to join in the art department. So just making sculptures for past students or artists outside of Iowa that don't have the facility like we do.
When you first get out of school, you really don't have the resources to do it. And I'd worked for the incubator before by doing several projects, so when the project came along, my initial thought was to do it through that program. The students that helped with the project were Hannah Segerman, Dallas Guffey, and Jacob McGinn. Also, Tom Sandcliffe and Dan Perry were the two professors that were able to kind of provide assistance.
So Tom and Dan, they head the program. They find the projects, and I mean they're in charge of it. They deal with it all. And, like with the Public Art Committee and UNI, and very grateful to be a part of it. So
you learn both of like the physical skills to go into making it, and also kind of like the timeline and the things that come up along the way that you might not have the opportunity on smaller projects to kind of deal with.
I work, make stuff, learn an incredible amount of information. It's given me the foundation to find jobs kind of anywhere, which a lot of schools you're not going to get that.
Having additional labor was really an invaluable part of the project, because each of the two pieces that make up the project are too wide and too tall to be shipped. So they had to be cut in half, and none of the pieces could really be even picked up or moved around by one single pair of hands. So they would get shipped over here and then unloaded one by one. Then the pieces were welded together and then craned into place. And then that allows us to pick the entire piece up to weld on the foundation, where there are large tubes with rebar that stick out of them. So when the concrete is poured, it's able to make a good connection. This is a unique opportunity to put something in somewhere that's really kind of trying to be integrated into more of a natural landscape. A lot of times they put public art pieces in very urban environments on large concrete pads, and I thought that that would create distance, like it was an object that you looked at and not like walk through an experience. So that was definitely important, and having it directly in the grass made no barrier between the viewer and the work.
So it fits very, very well in that area, and you can walk in and out of it and experience a nest, so to speak.
I still had to tweak, inches here and there to make it appropriate width so a person could walk through, and not too high if you climb on it.
Standing over 7 feet high and 27 by 25 feet wide, the structure is made from Corten steel and roughly weighs a whopping 1,200 pounds.
The reason why I decided to go with that material is over time it'll continue to get more brown.
It'll change as the seasons go on, and as the years go on, this piece is made to rust.
It also kind of reflects the same tonal patterns as branches. And it's very durable, it requires no maintenance. So the advantage of the steel is it lasts much longer, and if it floods again, it's not going to float away.
And so it'll definitely be a presence, and it'll be there forever. It'll just kind of fit right into that area. And also the vegetation will welcome it, and so it'll be a really neat piece sitting there on that knoll as you're going into North Cedar or coming down Center Street. The North Cedar Neighborhood Association was very pleased with it. We were very pleased with it. And the North Cedar students were excited to go up and see the sculpture because the students worked on this natural area, helping clean it, and they have classes and all that kind of stuff in that area.
It seems like every project that I do kind of builds a little bit in both scale and how complicated it is, and this one's definitely both the biggest and most complicated. So I'm very glad to have it in my portfolio, and I had free reign over this entire plot of land to really make whatever type of project I wanted, and that's a lot of free space to work with, and so that was something that was really exciting to me.